All right, welcome back to the Artist Connection podcast. This is Matt Kasar with my very special guest today, Mr. David Quaife. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Hello.
Calling you over in the UK.
Yes, just outside London.
Yeah, nice. How's the weather today?
Well, believe it or not, it's 13 degrees and sunny, which is very unusual in December especially. But no, it's very nice.
And the holidays are quickly approaching. Are you all prepared?
I'm never prepared, but yes, they are approaching very quickly, too fast.
Yeah. You know what I've noticed, the older I get, just the faster time seems to be going, not only around just in general, but when you get closer to the holidays, it's December 1st, and then you blink, and then it's December 21st, and then it's Christmas. It's crazy.
Yeah, that really does go so quick now, and that's completely true. The older you get, the quicker it goes. The adverts on the television don't help either.
No, they don't. Or the Christmas music that starts, soon after, Halloween or...
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking about buying Easter eggs at the moment.
There's probably a great sale on them right now, so the time is right.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for taking time to meet with me. I have so many different things I want to talk to you about, not only about you and your life, but of course the Pete Quaife Foundation. I want to talk about the early days of the Kinks and kind of your bird's eye view of how all that went down and how it happened and how it related to your life. So a lot of stuff to talk about.
Well, I think from the very start, I was a young kid of 12, 13 years old when the Kinks were playing, and then overnight they actually became famous.
Oh, man.
And it was just amazing. It changed the whole family life and everything. People knocking on the door, fans coming around, which was enjoyable for me. And it was a whirlwind of happiness, excitement. It was very good.
So the thing I want to know about that time, and you were a young man at that time, but you think of the big bands that came out of England at that time. Of course, the Beatles is kind of the first one you think about, but the Kinks, of course, the Rolling Stones, the Who.
Yeah.
They're the big ones, but were there a lot of other bands doing similar things at that time, and for whatever reason these guys kind of rose to the top, or were these?
Well, they were.
Yeah.
There was a lot from Manchester. There was a lot from Liverpool as well, and then the London scene picked up as well. Spencer Davis and all this sort of
Sure.
stuff. Manfred Mann. It was just amazing. There were some really amazing bands that set the course for the rest as well, which aren't so well known. I'll mention Wishbone Ash.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
I mean, I sincerely think without them we wouldn't have the Pink Floyd. It was a fantastic band. Two guitarists, it was a really good band. And luckily they're still playing. Very good band still. There were lots of other small bands that didn't survive. As then, as in now, it's a matter of luck of getting noticed.
Having that little something extra, I guess. If it's maybe personality driven, maybe the way they look, you just never know, do you?
No, it's difficult because in those days it was a band that set the style, and some of them just couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Not only the music but how they looked. It was, touch and go in those days.
I was born in '69, so my musical identity was kind of formed off of my mom and dad's record collection, and late '70s is when I started buying my own records and really making my own, like relating to certain bands. And it was always the Who and the Rolling Stones that were the first for me, and then the Kinks. The Kinks came in at a sweet time for me because you had, for me it was Van Halen here in America. And Van Halen covered You Really Got Me, and so that was the first taste I heard of that song. But then, oh wait, that's a cover? Who did the original? Oh, the Kinks. Oh my God, and that sounds just as heavy. At that time it was maybe 10 years older, 13 years, came before Van Halen. It sounded just as heavy.
Yeah, because when you think it back in those days, You Really Got Me didn't last all that long in people's memories.
Right.
And it took 3-4 years later, and they'd play it again. There's a blast from the past or something, and whack, and then sales went up again. It was just amazing those days. I'd like to correct you for one thing, which is quite important to me. We always talk about the British invasion. It was the other way around, because most of the bands who were getting to be well known were getting their music from America. Tapes were being sent over, And a lot of the bands are doing covers of them just to get the name up in the charts and then later on to their own music. So that really makes me smile quite a lot. I think the Kinks, Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Who, were all doing covers from American bands.
Right.
And people seem to forget that.
They do. People forget a lot of stuff, and it's kind of hard, like for me, to be a fan of music from going back to the early days, to try to keep that. I have a 15-year-old daughter, so trying to point her back in the direction of, here's where the stuff came from, but at that age, they don't really care. They just want to know what's happening now, and who cares about 50 years ago, but I do.
Exactly. Me and Pete and Anne, our sister, we were brought up. My dad was a really big blues fan from America. And
oh,
we used
nice.
to wait literally weeks for 78s to be sent over from America and play them. That was what we was brought up on. And that made a colossal difference to Pete when he started to play.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I wonder where that comes from. What made your dad be interested in that kind of music? Was it, I mean, were there a lot of guys around that liked that, or was that a unique? Was he different?
It's unique.
Yeah.
I think the neighbours thought Dad was completely mad.
I was going to say, that's what I wanted to know. Yeah.
They really did, you know. Dad's going, listen, it's a homemade guitar, now listen to this, it's a single-track recording. And he was flipping out over it, you know. I'm glad they didn't have stereo systems in those days, or we would have been thrown off.
Nice. And that, like you said, that had your older brother, Pete. How much older was Pete?
I can never work that. I think he was about 6 years older than me.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, I'm pretty bad on dates.
Oh, that's all right.
No, that's fine.
So how long were the Kinks together before they made it big? You said the success came pretty quickly, but was he knocking around with Ray and Dave before that?
2 years. Yeah, I've been going through Pete's diaries, actually. It's quite interesting when they started and Pete and Ray met at the school with the help of the music teacher, Mr. Gill, who was my teacher as well later on, to do a school dance thing. And then Dave turned up a few weeks later, and that was the Kinks, and there was John Starr, the drummer. He was the drummer because that was the only one around. His parents could afford a drum set and everything, and that was the way it started. It used to be called the Ray Davis Quartet or the Dave Davis Quartet, whoever got the job. That was it. Friends used to drive them around. They had a regular one as well, Jeff Bailey, in a very, very small estate car, we call it. English style, not the American,
right.
About a quarter of the size. 2 minis stuck together. And, yeah, and it started like that. And then one day somebody knocked on the door, and it was the two guys who were the Kinks managers. Signed the contract and everything. Name was turned to the Kinks.
Wow.
Then it took off, literally, within days.
Amazing.
Yeah. Again, they did... Ray wrote a couple of tracks and everything, and they also did some covers of some American ones. The first two were flops, and then Ray insisted that we do You Really Got Me.
Huh.
And when I heard that first of all in the front room of Ray's mum and dad, all living back home with mum and dads then, listened to it in their front room, and that knocked me for six, it really did.
Well, the guitar sound, right? I mean, that just must have, like nothing you ever heard before.
Yeah, and then you start off with the da-da-da-da, and then the drums, and then the voice, and then everything else comes together. It was just a neat start to everything, completely unknown, because I think that goes back to the jazz days when everybody used to have their own double bass solo or the drum solo and everything, but this started at the very start. You Really Got Me. Everybody had their go there, coming into music.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
One of the other things I love about you on Facebook, you're very active on there, and you always share a lot of interesting anecdotes about those early days, and sometimes you even find yourself in the place where you have to set the record straight, right? Because there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of information out there, but there's also a lot of misinformation, right?
Yeah, that used to get me annoyed. Now I just chuckle. There's, that day's split speaker, that's true. There was another one that when I first started on Facebook, soon after Pete died.